Hi, welcome to Tarot Off the Cuff. I am Kevin Quigley. Our next reader, Meg Miller, is a former forklift driver, chauffeur, and teacher who turned to the esoteric arts. She's always been deeply connected to the other side. She's an intuitive reader that loves to use the story contained within the cards.
Hi, I'm Meg Miller with Tarot Off the Cuff, and for today's reading, I'm going to use the Shining Tribe deck by Rachel Pollack. This is the book that comes with it. This is the back of the deck, and this is the lusciousness inside. So we're going to shuffle. So for today, we're going to talk about tarot community, who and what that is, and how important it is that you really assess and take care of your own personal tarot community. So we have our tarot community, and for now I'm going to pull a card, and 10 of birds is what I have. So you see the birds up there taking flight, etc. Okay, so tarot community. Well, when I think about taking flight, it's really looking at what constitutes your community that builds the type of practice, the type of concentration, the types of people and materials that you bring into your life that really nourish you, but also challenge you. You know, it is about a taking flight. Think about where you were when you first started. Mine was always interest, but I was also raised that that's bad, it's evil, and all of those things. And it wasn't until I was in my later 20s in a New Age bookstore that I had spent time and money and energy on buying books and crystals and totem animals and oracle cards and everything else, but I never let myself buy the tarot card. But a friend of mine who was in all of this spiritual realm with me just said, "Oh, for goodness sakes, Meg, just buy it." So I did. And that was the beginning. And so my community really started there at that point where it was quite defined. And when we look at our tarot community looking forward, who's in your community right now? We go to conferences, we go to workshops, we look at YouTube. Who are the friends we hang around with? What kinds of organizations do we belong to as far as what's online, classes, those types of things. And really looking at who helps build what it is that you want to become more of as your practice continues. So I look at, one element is, we've all had those people in our lives who think it's awful, and we learn over time that we create distance and space from those people because they don't really encourage us to move on. Then I have my next group of, I would say, my tarot community, and they're on the outer circle. And those are the people that just love me for what I'm doing. So I could do anything. I just happen to be in love with tarot and use tarot as a tool to help define and pull out the mystery of someone else as well as myself. But as far as their interest in tarot goes, they're interested as much as I'd be interested in taking an inventory of all the nuts and bolts of a major airline. And I mean the actual major nuts and bolts. They are not interested at all, but they're interested in hearing about my journey and so on. And then I find people along the way that I have picked up as an eclectic collection of interesting, exciting people. And these are people I've met through conferences and workshops and classes and meetups and people that I've met online and so on. And really finding those people that I really connect with and really can share what it is I'm going. And so when we talk about tarot community, I really look for people who are also going to challenge me And I don't mean in a hostile way, but really ask me to push myself to go forward, to take a risk, to do things that I've never done before and would like to, but I feel a little too vulnerable, or I feel I don't have enough information. And seriously, of all of us, I'd like to see a show of hands. I know you're in your living room or your car, wherever you're watching this. How many of you feel that you know all that you need to know about tarot? And if there's one hand raised, God bless you. My hat's off to you. But otherwise, that's the beauty of the lusciousness of tarot. There is layers and layers and layers of information that we can pull. I think of all the podcasts I've listened to, people who talk about elements of the cards, such as the color, what clothing they're wearing, or if they're wearing clothing. And then in relation to the deck that I'm using, in this regards, the clothing is, I would say, more in the background. It's really about what's the energy, what's the story that's going on. And the story for me is my community at the level of where I want to be? It's not about where I am now. The people before me got me here, and so on. So if I want to continue to grow and change, then I need to insert that in my tarot community. So how do we pull that all together? Well, the obvious is, again, participating in groups, workshops, etc. But also, what do you fill your mind with? The obvious is, well, we can read our tarot books. We can study the tarot greats, the people who have come decades before us and have really laid a wonderful path for us now. There's no way that we could be as out in the open as we are today if it weren't for all of our wise elders that have really pushed through all the negativity, the fear, the hesitation, and all of that for us to really meet openly and talk about what we get out of this. But I also want to talk about, again, what you fill your mind with. And I don't read just tarot books. I read philosophy. I read history. I've read a lot of stuff about the goddess. I've read a lot of stuff about nature and the healing of that, such as rocks and crystals. Looking at incense, looking at all the ceremonial tools that we have and what they bring to the whole ritual and richness of tarot. So I take that seriously and then ask people to study with me on various levels. So for example, I'm in a couple of book studies right now with people who do not practice tarot for a living. They love the fact that I do. They are always willing, should I say victims, friends of being read to. What do they want to know more about their life and so on. But we read books like Centering Prayer, or The Power of Purpose, or the fact, Eye of the Heart. Things that really bring us into a more imaginal realm. That's with the Eye of the Heart, Cynthia Bourgeois. And I think about the Durant History Series, which I happen to have right behind me. There's 9 books that they've written together. Will wrote the first ones singularly. But it's really about the richness of the world, and the more knowledge that we take in, that we gravitate toward. I'm not going to read about statistics, but I know there's some people who are tarot readers who do, and that stimulates a part of the brain. Again, it's what is it that gravitates to us? Some learn more about tarot through their experience outdoors, because that's where their learning takes place. Or the experiences in actual creation of art. I am not considered a visual artist. My art form is the word. My art form is taking ideas and concepts and putting them together. But I've also worked with people. I take yoga classes and I learn the deeper history and the lineage of the masters, the ancestors, and what it is to find all of that knowledge that lives within us. And as we learn to unlock our own elements within us, then we can bring that out to our tarot community. And so it's not only my responsibility to learn more information as I read for more and more people and as life evolves and so on, but it's also my responsibility to learn those things so I can share, not as a pompous egotist, but I can share with my tarot community. And when I'm talking with other readers, that I'm going to ask them challenging questions, or they're saying, gee, I'm trying to sift through this concept and it's so complex. How can I get there? And then I am able to ask some leading questions and offer information, or maybe a book to read, or a podcast to listen to, or a technique to go deeper into meditation and those types of things. But tarot community is really about who, what, why we gather, and deepening our understanding of why we are here now and why we are asked by the universe to be the seers, to take flight. And it's also to be in a place where we can bring out the exciting, the empowering, and then also the other message, the shadow, and delivering it in a way that is respectful, grace-filled, compassionate, and that we do it in our own way. We find our own style. And tarot community for me has been absolutely fantastic. And I look at just the last couple of years, how much more I've taken flight and the journey I've gone through. I've gone through more shadow work because that was called to me. And then in fact, my last reading that I had a couple months ago said, you're done with shadow. Not that I'm completely done and I get to walk away and wash off my hands. But the fact is, now it's moving forward into the light and taking what I've learned in that element and moving forward with it and carrying into the future with myself and my own community, between client and colleague and friend. So think about your tarot community. Is your community where you want it to be and who you want it to be? And with that, I'm going to call it a wrap. Thank you. I'm Meg Miller from Tarot Off the Cuff.
Hi, thanks for watching. This is Kevin Quigley with Tarot Off the Cuff. If you can take a second, click the subscribe button down below. That'll let you know when a new video is posted and you might want to jump over and watch it. If you hit the thumbs up for the videos that you really like, that will help spread the word so new people will find Tarot Off the Cuff in their feed, and that helps the channel grow. That would be great. And if you got a question or a comment, positive or negative, whether you agree or disagree, or if you want to add information or your own take on a particular card or a particular topic, put a comment down below. We would love to hear from you. Thanks so much.